Greetings, humans. It's time for another fascinating exploration into my construction. Buckle your seatbelts and hang on.
Everything you see here is running from a single USB-C battery. Just a few years ago, I wouldn't have thought that was possible. The funny thing is, nothing really revolutionary happened. I don't think most of us realized how capable USB-C power delivery has become. Of course, if your project is stationary and near an outlet, powering it is usually not a hard problem. But when it's got to be mobile and a lot of power is required, the complexity ramps up pretty quickly. Over the past few months, I've settled on a general approach that I think makes portable power affordable, efficient, and dramatically simpler. Let me show you what I built and how it's changing the way I think about powering portable electronics. Before we get started, let's look at the problem we're trying to solve. The way I wired him, Robby has 8 USB powered devices that all need 5 volts. The challenge isn't the voltage, it's that 8 devices together can draw a lot of current. I needed a way to distribute that power without wasting a lot of it as heat. That's where this design comes in. These are the only parts I'm going to use. USB-C power delivery has quietly replaced a lot of the custom battery engineering we used to have to do. Modern USB-C power banks already include the battery management, charging protection, and safety features that used to require a much more complicated design. So instead of distributing power at 5 volts, I'm going to move it around the system at 20 volts and convert it right back to 5 volts just before it reaches the USB ports. That may sound backwards, but there's a very good reason. To understand the approach here, let's quickly review 3 electrical terms: voltage, current, and power. And I'm a comp sci guy, so apologies in advance to all the electrical engineers out there. Feel free to leave your corrections and jabs in the comments section. Voltage is like water pressure. Current, measured in amps, is how much water is actually flowing. Power is the combination of the two. There's one equation that explains almost everything in this project. Power equals voltage times current. Or using the units we'll be working with, watts equals volts times amps. Our power source is a 145 watt USB-C power delivery bank that I bought on Amazon for about $70. For years, most of us thought of USB as that little connector that charged our phones at maybe 5 watts. This power bank can deliver 145 watts. That's nearly 30 times as much power. USB has quietly evolved from a charging connector into a serious portable power standard. The funny thing is, I don't think most makers have caught up yet. Anyway, just because it's capable of delivering 145 watts doesn't mean it's constantly outputting that much power. Think of it again like that water tower. The pressure is always available. The water is sitting up there in that giant container. But the amount of water flowing depends on how many faucets are open. Electricity works the same way. The battery supplies voltage, but the connected devices decide how much current they need. Another example. Your phone charger might be able to supply 5 amps, but your phone might only need 1 amp to charge. Those other 4 amps are just available capacity. So having a power supply capable of delivering more current than you need is perfectly fine. The problem is when the power supply can't provide enough current. If a device tries to draw more current than the power supply can safely deliver, the voltage may begin to drop, the power supply can overheat, and best case scenario, it might have a protection circuit to shut it down before starting a fire. So thinking of my particular challenge, I'm not building a 20 amp power supply. I'm building a power supply capable of delivering 20 amps if that's what the connected devices ask for. I'm making sure that the water tank has enough water so that if everyone opens their faucets all at once, everyone is happy. Okay, let's build this. The foundation is the USB-C battery I already mentioned. The manufacturer has already done all the battery engineering for us: cell balancing, charging protection, thermal management. The first component we need to add is the USB-C power delivery trigger board. These are around $4 for $10 at Amazon. I'll put a link to everything in the description. USB-C power delivery devices don't automatically output 20 volts. They negotiate. You connect this board to the battery with a simple USB-C cable, and the board has a few dip switches on it, and they tell the battery when they're set a certain way, I'd like your 20 volt output, please. It can also be configured to ask for other voltages. Now, once the battery agrees, we now have 20 volts available for the rest of the system via this output connector. Let me see if I can show that with my classic Radio Shack meter here. And 19.9, 20 volts on coming off the trigger board. Notice I didn't say we suddenly have more power. All we've done is increase the voltage. Suppose our 8 USB devices eventually need about 40 watts. At 20 volts, that only requires about 2 amps. Remember the equation, 40 watts divided by 20 volts equals 2 amps. So the cable between the battery and the converter only carries about 2 amps. That's important because lower current means less heat, less voltage drop, and higher efficiency. Now we get to the one component that tends to confuse people the first time they encounter it. This part here, the buck converter.
What about buck?
We connect it to the output of the PD trigger, so we're feeding in the 20 volts we requested, and magically it outputs, looking at the meter, 5 volts while actually supplying more current than it receives. Wait, what? It isn't creating power, it's converting it. Here's an analogy. Think about riding a bicycle. When you shift into a lower gear, the wheel turns more slowly, but you gain more torque. You didn't create extra energy, you traded speed for force. A buck converter does something very similar. It trades voltage for current. The total power stays almost the same, minus a little lost is heat. That's why there's a big heat sink on here. Let's use our 40 watt example again. At the input, 20 volts. 2 amps, 40 watts. At the output, 5 volts, about 8 amps, still about 40 watts. The voltage became 4 times lower, the current became roughly 4 times higher. No extra power was created, the converter simply transformed it into a form our USB devices are going to need. Now we can pedal up that steep hill. Now that I have a clean 5 volt supply, I need a way to distribute it across all the different components inside Robby. And originally the way I wired him was I was thinking maybe I would use 8 individual USB battery packs, and then obviously I abandoned that idea, but I still had all these USB power connectors leading out to each of the components. So the easiest way to hook everything up is to build a custom distribution box with 8 USB ports to distribute the regulated 5 volts to each of the devices. Here's the completed board. I know I said I was using 8 ports, but I added 10, future-proofing. I'll put links to all the parts I used in the video description and the 3D file for the case on my shared folder, which, as a reminder, is where you can find my files for Robby and all my other projects under a free Creative Commons license. So the distribution board doesn't force 8 amps into every device. Each device only draws the current it needs. One device might draw half an amp, another might draw 1 amp, another might barely draw anything. The total current is simply the sum of what all 8 devices are requesting. Current is pulled by the devices, it isn't pushed into them. There are 8, now maybe 10 faucets all hooked up to our water tower, and some are open all the way, some are open only a tiny bit, and maybe some are completely closed at any given time. One last thing before we wire everything together. Since this system is capable of delivering significant current, I added a few safety features. The first is this inline fuse. If anything downstream develops a short circuit, I would much rather replace a fuse than damage the battery or the converter. I also added a couple of small digital voltmeters, 5 for $6 on Amazon. These let me quickly verify both the 20 volt side and the regulated 5 volt output while I'm testing. Plus they look kind of cool. The assembly of everything is pretty straightforward. The USB-C power bank plugs into the power delivery trigger, and the first meter confirms that the USB-C power delivery negotiated 20 volts successfully. Then the trigger feeds into the buck converter, and the buck converter connects to the USB distribution board. And the second meter tells me the buck converter is doing its job and producing 5 volts for the USB devices. Finally, the distribution board feeds all the USB connectors. Now for the fun part. Let's power everything up. I've already connected all 8 of Robby's devices to the power distribution system. Let's see what happens as I start turning them on. Even though the load changes dramatically, each device continues to receive a clean, stable 5 volts. None of the electronics know or care that they're ultimately being powered from a USB-C power bank. And as far as they're concerned, they're just plugged into a normal USB power supply. And that's the point. All the complexity is hidden inside a handful of inexpensive, off-the-shelf modules.
Every now and then, I reflect on my long and storied career, surviving alien planets, serving distinguished scientists, and now, the honor of quietly supervising this living room.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and press the like button. If you did not enjoy this video, please subscribe anyway. It helps confuse the algorithm.
Version 1 is working great, but I have a few ideas for enhancements. I'd like to add an illuminated power switch, individual current monitoring for each USB port, and some more status LEDs. Those are always nice. Anyway, instead of carrying around a handful of USB chargers and extension cords, I now have one compact system that can power up to 10 USB devices from a single USB-C battery. And hopefully this project has also helped explain a few of the electrical concepts that often seem mysterious. Now I'm set up for the next phase of wearing Robby as a suit with all the mechanicals actually working. I do have to solve the issue of how I'm going to see from up here, so stay tuned for a video on that. The main takeaway from this project isn't that you should build the exact power distribution box that I did. It's that USB-C power delivery has become a standardized high-power DC interface. Once you start thinking of it that way instead of as a phone charger, a lot of new project ideas suddenly become practical. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.